Senate gives thumbs up to service chiefs but urged them to double efforts at tackling insecurity. Also, the House of Representatives has shut down a bill seeking to change the educational requirements for elective offices. And later on the program,
President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is one leader that each and every one of us has to be proud of. I am proud of him, and I never regretted voting for him to serve as the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Honorable Ado Doguwa from Kano State will share his views on the prevailing economic challenges and efforts at curbing oil theft in the Niger Delta. You're watching the Halo Chambers on TVC News. I am Tijesu Adiri. Let's start with the interface between the Senate and an expanded security team to deliberate on sustainable solutions to the widespread insecurity. The Nigerian Senate has passed a vote of confidence on the country's security authorities. The upper legislative chamber also commended the security agencies for their efforts at apprehending about 90% of perpetrators of crime who are already facing the full wrath of the law. President of the Senate, Senator Godswill Akpabio, disclosed this after he received comprehensive briefings from the National Security Advisor and security chiefs on the state of security and efforts made so far to tackle the menace.
The Senate listened to the efforts of the security chiefs, particularly the serious improvement in their operations nationwide. The Senate was impressed that almost 90% of perpetrators of heinous crimes in the country, including the ones recently reported in Buhari, in Abuja, have been apprehended, and many of them are already in detention to face the wrath of the law. The Senate also listened to various efforts made in areas that suffered serious insecurities in Plateau State, in Benue State, in Taraba State, in Zamfara State, in Nasarawa State, also in Katsina State, Kaduna and other places, and also in Anambra State, and also listen to briefs from security agents and security chiefs on the efforts being made on those specific instances. The Senate was impressed with their determination and focus, but the Senate urges them to do more to ensure total security of lives and properties in the nation.
After the 9-hour-long interactions with heads of security agencies and other relevant authorities, senators are confident that if the resolutions are adopted, the rise in insecurity will be nipped in the bud and Nigerians will get a sense of safety for their lives and properties.
Of course, what were discussed are not anything new to any Nigerian. It is got to do with the state of insecurity, which encompasses banditry, kidnapping, terrorism, and what have you. And we heard from the service chiefs. They are doing the best they can. But of course, situations like these are not things that you can just get rid of overnight. And we have shared our own concerns with them. And the areas where we feel they should do much more. And they have acknowledged the fact that, yes, the fact that they are doing the best they can, there is so much to be done. On the areas that our colleagues and myself, indeed, I raised some issues that have got to do with exchange rate and then some other issues that have got to do with security, particularly the one that security agencies before now had said that they know the sponsors and people behind Boko Haram, and no arrest has been made to that regard. I raised that as well, but I am impressed to the extent that they spoke.
Security is a very critical issue in Nigeria today, and the Senate, being Parliament of the people, has been very concerned about the numerous killings going on in Nigeria across the 6 geopolitical zones. Banditry, kidnapping, and all manners of attacks take place daily. People are killed everywhere, in the Plateau, in Nasarawa, in the southeast, in Zamfara, in the northeast, everywhere. People are generally unsafe. And the Senate decided to call the security chiefs, all those people in that sector. They came yesterday. They were invited previously on the 30th of January. They came, but some people were not with them, and the Senate wanted to see all of them together. And they came yesterday. It was full house yesterday. Apart from the Minister of Defense, Alhaji Badaru, all the others were present. So we had session for 10 hours. So a parley that lasted 10 hours from 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. in the night will underscore this area. We are hopeful that the people who are charged with that responsibility would have taken the message. We agree that they are doing their utmost best, but their best is not yet meeting the targets in the circumstance, because they said that the test of the pudding is in the eating. If we stop hearing about rampant kidnappings, killing of people, abductions and all that, then the people will feel it, immediately. We encourage them, and the National Assembly has been very committed in supporting our security agencies, both in terms of appropriation and all that. So we had to look at whether they were getting money as appropriated for their works, and we're seeing this level of insecurity. Yes, the Senate President spoke correctly. We were satisfied that they showed the zeal, the commitment, and the passion to fight, but they are having a lot of challenges even at that. So what we needed to do was not to condemn them, but to encourage them and find the things they will need to be able to be on top of the situation. That was the direction of the parley, and we believe that going back, they will retool their strategies and then get on top of the matter.
A bill to establish the National Youth Service Corps Trust Fund has passed second reading at the Nigerian Senate. Sponsor of the bill, Senator Adeyemi Adaramodu, says the establishment of the fund will provide a sustainable source of funds for the National Youth Service Corps, skill acquisition, training and empowerment of corps members, training and retraining of the personnel of the NYSC, and development of the camps and NYSC formations. Senator Adaramodu spoke exclusively to TVC News.
The title of the bill is to rejig the NYSC scheme and make it more functional, and to make it more promising for Nigerian youth, and then to engage Nigerian youth, and then ensure that no Nigerian youth passes through the scheme that does not have something to give to himself. Like when we found out that since 51 years ago, when the NYSC scheme had been in place, there had never been a very deliberate and then very strong attempt in making sure that some things about the NYC is rejuvenated. And the scheme, as we know, is the only fulcrum, the only platform where Nigerians of adult age do meet and they interact, irrespective of a creed, tribe, and religion. And then such a scheme cannot just be joked with. And we know that Nigeria today, we need that unity to thrive. And not that we need that unity alone. For the Nigerian young adults that are serving their fatherland, we believe that they should not just leave NYC, because we ask the question, after NYC, what next? So after NYC, what next? That what next, that is what the bill is for. The bill is to energize the scheme further, having a trust fund whereby the development of camps, which hitherto is in the hands of federal state governments and the FCT, will be developed through the funds. All those things that are necessary in the camps will be provided for through the trust fund.
Let's cross to the Green Chambers of the National Assembly, where the House of Representatives has stepped down a bill seeking to change the minimum educational requirements for the office of President, Vice President, Governors, Deputies, National Assembly members, and other political office holders from first living certificate to a university degree or its equivalent. The sponsor was advised to consult more members ahead of the return of the bill.
The managing director who holds an equally strategic position in a company within this country cannot be employed without a university degree or its equivalent. Why should the above political offices be held by people without a university degree or its equivalent?
All over the world, it has been proven. The visa to prosperity, three things: education, education, education.
What we are discussing today is whether elective officers should have wisdom and knowledge. Wisdom in the sense that, yes, without formal education, you could have wisdom. And that is what we mistake to be the quality of leadership. But what our sister has brought up is to say, look, we need an additional knowledge.
The education system of Nigeria was set under preassumptions that if you were able to obtain primary school certificate and secondary school certificate, you are automatically obtained that requirement to speak and to write.
One question you must have at the back of your mind is what motivated the legislators? What was the intention of the legislators? What was in the mind of the legislators when they included a minimum qualification in the Constitution, ab initio?
And lawmakers are seeking stiffer penalties for anyone who engages in female genital mutilation. Also, the lawmakers want the federal government to ensure strict compliance with the Compulsory Treatment and Care for Victims of Gunshot Act 2017. National Assembly correspondent Joke Adisa reports.
Female genital mutilation is an age-long practice in Africa. The campaign for an end to the practice has been on for years, but some communities are still not deterred. Lagos federal lawmaker Kafilat Ogbara brings before the House a bill seeking amendment to the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act 2015 to increase the penalty for offense of female genital mutilation.
The penalty we have that is existing now is about 100,000 and 2 years. We have tried to amend instead of 100,000 to $1 million naira, and from 2 years to 5 years.
The House also adopted a motion proposing drastic action against health facilities refusing to treat accident and gunshot victims without police reports.
Section 7 of the Act states that any authority or persons whose omission results in the unnecessary death of a gunshot victim shall be liable to imprisonment for 5 years or fine in the sum of 500,000 or both.
In another motion, the legislators moved to probe incessant occurrence of domestic gas explosions in the country.
Resolves to engage stakeholders in the gas industry to develop strategies for preventing future gas explosions.
The House called on the National Judicial Council to revisit alleged lopsidedness in the appointment of High Court judges into 12 vacancies in the nation's capital to reflect the principle of federal character.
Whereas every state of the Federation has judges from their respective states appointed in the FCT High Court system, 4 states, namely Ebonyi, Abia, Imo, and Bayelsa, do not have a single indigene from their states.
The Parliament also wants state governments investigated over the utilization of the increased monthly Federation Allocation Accounts Committee.
Most of these states with increased allocation faces significant challenges, even in the payment of salaries, effective management of public institutions, and provision of public transportation.
The National Assembly is a busy place. As the bastion of democracy, it is a place where bills are presented, motions debated, laws made, and the yearnings of the people are laid bare. Come with us as we take you through the workings of the National Assembly. We take you through plenary, committee meetings, and probes, all to ensure smooth working of the democratic process.
The economic situation in the country has caused widespread agitation and even led to civil disobedience in Kano and Niger states. A lawmaker from Kano State, Adodogwa, tells us the mood of the people. He is also the chairman of the Special Committee on Ore Theft, and he talks about efforts to stop this economic crime.
I think, in my view, Nigeria is in economic problems, yes. Nigeria facing security issues, yes. Challenges of banditry, kidnappings, and some other social vices, yes. Challenges in some of our institutions, like the educational institution, fine. But I want to disagree with you on record, madam. We are not in a crossroad. We are not in a crossroad. A country like Nigeria that has luckily gotten a leader who, by all chances, by all measures of leadership, is somebody that we believe in. I want to tell you that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is one leader that each and every one of us has to be proud of. I am proud of him, and I never regretted voting for him to serve as the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And when you have someone who has focus, someone who has the experience, someone who has the capacity to lead by example, not only by example, if you go through his track records, is somebody who has put on ground what one can call advanced leadership, democratic leadership. He has in him the ability to carry people along, and he has his own policies and programs which he believes in them. And those of us who belong to the ruling party, of course, we believe in those policies. But when you now start, for instance, first quarter, second quarter, I mean in quarters, in gradual assessment, for instance, first month, second month, third month, fourth month, you are likely to go through what you can call like what the aircraft operators will say turbulence. One is likely to come through turbulence. You are likely to come across potholes on the road. This is naturally what we are going through. Okay, but the focus of our leader, who is the president of the nation today, can never be mistaken to be called as if we are in a crossroad. We are not in a crossroad. He is focused. He knows where we are going, and he's navigating to get us to the promised land. Of course, agreed, there are challenges and issues, and these are issues, most of which were caused, in my opinion, caused by global factors, global parameters. It's not just happening in Nigeria. Same thing is happening in Niger Republic, even worse. Same thing is also happening in Ghana, for instance. And if you go even to the so-called advanced countries, you still come across some of these economic challenges and what have you. They may be in different dimensions or different proportions, but they are all the same. I do not want to assume the position of the spokesperson of the government of the Federation. I'm only speaking as a member of the ruling party. I'm also speaking as someone who has some little understanding of the commitment and determination of Mr. President at close range. I know who Mr. President is. I know how patriotic he is, and I know how committed determined he is to ensure that he pilots the affairs of our economic development in this nation right. And I'm assuring you, sooner or later, we will get out of these challenges. When you are coming up with policies that may be strange, some policies that should have been taken long ago, but simply because leaders decided to be political about them, they decided not to take that decisions. And you now have a person who has now taken the bull by the horn to say, oh, it should be this way, and we must go by this way. And every one of us is convinced that some of these things that Mr. President has taken, some of the steps he has taken, of course might be very painful at the moment. But I want to tell you, I'm one of those leaders, I'm one of those members of the National Assembly that believes that yes, day in, day out, we will get out of this trouble. But what we are now seeing on the streets by way of protest is of serious concern to the government and to those of us representing the people. And I want to believe that what the people are doing on the street are genuine. There is a cause of, for instance, expressing genuine concerns of the deteriorating livelihood of our people, because of course the economy is getting tough and tough again, and also prices of commodities, especially basic commodities, are skyrocketing, and actually they are creating a lot of concerns amongst our people. Those of us who are representing our people, we are also concerned. We are worried, but the best we could do is to put on the floor, to put on the table the true situations Nigerians are passing through, to also extend the feelings of the people to the executive arm of government, which of course is being led by Mr. President. I think we have done that severally by way of motions, sometimes resolutions of the House of Representatives, sometimes even private visits to Mr. President. We have done that. And I believe those efforts we are making will go a long way in actually attracting Mr. President's attention to the concern and the affairs of the people of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Today, as I'm speaking to you, Mr. President is meeting with the governors of the Federation right away, what you can call an emergency meeting. And don't also forget the crunch of what we call the effects of the withdrawal of the subsidy. People never understand. It is having its own side effect on the negative, but it has more of a prospective advantage to the people on the other side. But it's like people don't look at that. When you talk of high cost of commodities, when you talk of a high sense of operational livelihood of the people, when you talk of probably failure of power and what have you, when you talk of security itself, people will always say, oh, this is the affairs or the business of the federal government. I am one of the very few Nigerians that will boldly tell you that it is not a sole business of the federal government alone. It is the business of the local government councils. It is also the business of our respected state governors. And when they put hands together, I think some of these things can be addressed, because these are things that are happening at various levels, societal, by various levels of societal existence. Some of them happen right in the wards, in the villages. Some of such things also happen at the local government levels. So you would not expect Mr. President to be all over. That is why he is called the President. And you have other people also called as governors, and you have other people also called as local government chairmen. If collectively they put hands together and work against these vices, then Nigeria will thrive. You see, crude oil theft and vandalization of pipelines and our federal assets in the oil and gas sector is what one can call a long-standing problem in our economy. It has started long ago. Unfortunately, no solution was found to it. In the 9th Assembly, we had a committee of this nature. In the 8th Assembly, we had a committee of this nature. So it's like now we are now taking the next step from where previous committees have stopped. I want to tell you that what we are now beginning to do differently is to engage, because when you're talking of security, it's about our relevant security agencies. You wouldn't expect the House to just get there and be responsible directly for protecting or securing our national assets in the oil and gas sector. You need the security agencies, relevant security agencies, the Nigerian Armed Forces, the police, the Nigerian Civil Defense Corps. And sometimes we have to also engage and encourage the activities of private security organizations. They are all involved. So what we are now doing differently is to get these people together, let them have what you call a sense of collaboration and sense of partnership, working together. But in a situation whereby you have rivalry, misunderstanding among the security agencies in terms of their operations, in terms of their area of jurisdictions, whether air or high sea or shallow waters operation, then definitely you will continue to have problems and you will not get this thing right. This committee is therefore all out to galvanize and put together the efforts of all these security agencies to see how we can be able to actually fight the menace of crude oil theft and vandalization of our national assets in the shores of places where we call, what do you call them, the oil producing states. The essence, or the basic intent for this is for the House to contribute to the need and the desire for the oil and gas to have an increased production. When you have increased production, then you create what you call an enabling environment for the oil and gas sector, especially for the NNPC and the Ministry of Petroleum Resources, to be able to meet up our international obligation in terms of providing the OPEC quota that has always been allocated to Nigeria. In some cases in the past, we've not been able to meet the quota. Even the projection in the budget, which has never fallen below 1.5, 1.6, 1.7 projection, in some cases you find out getting not up to 50% of what we had projected in the budget. But by God's grace, with the commitment we have, and with the kind of leadership and the mandate given to us by the House leadership led by Right Honorable Tajuddin Abbas, I want to assure you that this committee will be out doing very differently to see to the success not only of the committee as a legislative institution, but to see to the success of all other agencies of government who may be involved one way or the other in protecting and securing our national oil assets, which at the end will enhance production. And when production is enhanced, our foreign reserve will be increased, the naira value will also be restored, and of course our obligation in terms of the global market in OPEC will also be sustained. These are the challenges we are facing.
That is our package for you this week. Do not forget you can watch a repeat broadcast on Sunday at 7 a.m. Also, you can see this episode again on TVC News YouTube channel. Do not forget to subscribe, like, and share. Thank you for watching. I am Tijesu Adeoye. See you next time.